Hello and welcome back to my garden. I'm Marion, and I think today it's going to be a mix of all sorts of things because it's raining yet again. I thought I'd be bringing you the second part of clearing up the courtyard this week, but it's just been too wet. It's been too wet to empty pots out onto the yard without making a muddy mess, and so I've been doing more things up here. I've actually planted more winter lettuce in the beds here, and I'm about to start just taking away the rest of the tomatoes because I don't think they're going to do anything else now. It has really turned cold, as you can see by me being in a jumper on top of my dress. The other thing I'm doing today is sowing some seeds. I'm going to sow some aqua dulce. I think you say aqua dulce actually, but I'm not sure. I thought they would be able to go into the bed in here or into the sweet corn bed once it was empty. And by the way, I've been eating a lot of sweet corn. All the tiny little secondary corns, they're just perfect. I've been eating them raw and cooked. And the big ones, I'm just slicing all the kernels off, and they're lovely. So even though they didn't come to perfect ripeness like you would expect, they're still tasty, and I'm counting that as a win. Next year I just start earlier, but I couldn't do much about it this year. Anyway, I've got root trainers here. I'll bring you down to show you. These are what I would use for my peas and sweet peas, my sweet corn, and the potting mix I'm putting in is actually just a mix of pea-free compost and the soil that the molehill gave me. So all that molehill soil is mixed up in here. Actually, the mole has been back, but only once. He went down the side of one of my vegetable beds, and I collected that soil too. So I've got nice fine soil for my seeds. I've had these root trainers for years. I don't know if anybody's got any tips, but I would really like to be as plastic free as possible in my garden. And it just doesn't seem that it's possible, because every time if I go to buy a plant, it's in a plastic pot. I've even considered taking something I could put them into to empty the pots so I could bring them home pot free. But on the good side of things, these root trainers, which I have had, must be going on for 20 years. Just take that out. Obviously I get the use out of them every single year. So I'm just going to plant half of this in broad beans, and the other half I'm going to do this, which I don't know whether you'll know of this. This is Carlin pea. This one's a variety called Red Fox, and the Carlin pea is quite an old-fashioned pea. It can be quite popular here in the northeast of England. I would say, look, they look different too. They're a brown pea, very like a heritage thing, and you would treat them the same way maybe as a chickpea. Whatever you can use a chickpea for, you could use a Carlin pea for. So I'm going to put half of these in. It's not the right time to sow them, but I'm just going to see whether I'll get anything from a late sowing, because this year I'm just trying to experiment altogether. Maybe I'll just do 3 rows of the Carlin pea so I can keep plenty for this spring. Yeah, got plenty. And then if these don't grow, well, you know, I've tried my best. And the other ones I'll put the broad beans in, because it definitely says that they are autumn sowing. Well, they look lovely, so I'm going to put them in as well. I nearly thought about germinating these, but I think they'll be all right up here. Oh my goodness, I got the exact right amount out. How's that? That was serendipity. Well, I just need to give them a water now, and then that's at least something that's been sown that I can look forward to. The Carlin peas, a bit of an experiment this late in the year, but you never know, they might just overwinter in here and set off early next year. Who knows? I'll let you know if they don't work. Well, I haven't wasted much, just, you know, half a dozen seed or so. Another two seeds that I got from the same place, which is Seeds of Scotland, with me being sort of not that far from Scotland, I thought any seeds that they were doing was probably going to be hardy enough for me. I'm going to try that next year. That's the Robinson pea. Definitely not time to sow this yet, but it's supposed to be a good podding pea, up to 10 peas per pod, and it's supposed to have an excellent taste. So I can, it says open pollinated for the Scottish climate. I think that should suit me here. And well, we'll just see. Never done them before. Something I'm going to sow this week though is winter purslane. So I've definitely foraged that before because it's a native wild plant here, and it is pretty tasty. It's a tasty leaf, and I didn't realise I could actually get seeds of it. So I'm going to sow some seeds. I think I'll sow them in a seed tray and then prick them out into the beds here, and also some for outside, and I'll just see what happens. Yeah, just, it's all experiments, isn't it? We just sow our seeds and fingers crossed. I can't cross my fingers. Fingers crossed and hope for the best. Meanwhile, I have a problem with my polytunnel. I'll turn you around and show you. My blooming door's jammed. I can't open it at all. Been having to come in and out the back way. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't open and it doesn't close. And I just can't see what happened. I think, well, I think I maybe have to get the ladders out and do a bit more of investigation, but I don't know. I went to close it about 3 nights ago and it just jammed and it won't do either thing. So another thing to do. While I sit down for a minute, I'll tell you what I've been up to. So obviously, as I said, the yard just hasn't done anything else because it's just been too wet. And I knew if I was emptying pots, I'd have just been making a muddy space. And we walk through there every day to go to the bin, to come to the garden, and you just don't want to tread all that in. So that's on hold for the moment. And meanwhile, I've been doing things up here. So I planted out all of the onions and the garlic that I set away in the tunnel about 3 weeks ago. Well, except for the red ones. The red ones just didn't grow away quite so quickly. So they're still in here. But of the rest of them, they've gone in and they look super so far. So I've got the strawberries at the front, the garlic and the sensu onions. And so that means that I've had room in here to set away some more. I've set away the garlic, the extra garlic that I bought. That was the Carcassonne white and the Kingsland white. They're now set in the modules. I've done the shallots, and the red onions are definitely growing now, and so they will be able to join the others outside. I do feel that that bed is probably going to end up all in onions because we're starting sort of the end of April. By the time I had anywhere to plant anything, it was going into May before I had the tunnel up and I started clearing for my first beds. I wasn't able to grow any onions at all, and that's been quite a miss actually. I would have loved to have had onions, so I'm making sure that I do have them for next year. Onions and garlic, because I definitely use a lot of both of them. The other thing that I've done is clear down the side of the polytunnel. I spent some time clearing the runner beans and the tree spinach, And that means that I've now got room to fiddle on with the way of getting water up here, up the tunnel, into my water bucket. I'm going to actually keep these because as well as keeping them to sow next year, they're actually really nice cooked. Just have to cook them for longer. So they'll be coming in the house to cook over the weekend. For a little tiny gap down the side of the polytunnel, this has been an amazing little piece. I'm pleased that I just squashed in these runner beans and there's just 6 inches of space here. Well, that's made a difference there. I've just got all of those runner beans to pod up, and I'll save some for planting and we'll eat the rest. It just occurred to me when I was clearing up here that this little tiny piece down the side of the tunnel is only actually 6 inches of ground available, and it would have been easy just to shove stuff down here, old pots, just, you know, stuff. But in the end, that little 6 inches of soil, because I'm working with such a small amount of space to grow as much as I can, I just thought, oh, maybe the runner beans would go there. And so I saw the possibility in this space. And I think if I hadn't seen that possibility, I would have missed out on that harvest. And it's been good, and I've still got all those beans. And so I think sometimes we have to not only see the possibility in our gardens, but in ourselves too, because sometimes things can just, you can do more than you think sometimes. And I do feel that I've learned that this year, or maybe over the past few years, that there's more that you can do if you just see the possibilities. And for a little runner bean space here, or in whatever you're doing for yourself. So I don't want to be too heavy on that, but it just sort of, I don't know, it just, it made me think. Anyway, I'm trying to see the possibilities of this space even more, and to that end I've got some tree stakes, and I've got my old greenhouse guttering. I was trying to come up with a way of getting the water off the roof of here into my water barrels. And I did see that you can buy this stick-on guttering stuff, but I thought I'd try and do it with what I have to hand. And what I do have to hand is my old greenhouse gutter, which I saved when I demolished the greenhouse. And the thought was that because it's got that shape there, which is this shape, well, I'll have to hammer that bit straight. I've got 2 of these anyway, which I would need both of these, but that shape would fit against the polytunnel side if I could just have something to lean it on. So I've got some tree stakes here, and I bought them long so that I could hammer them in and then cut them at the right height afterwards. I thought if I got short ones they might not be long enough. I've got 4 to go down the length, and then once they're cut in I'll put a plank on. This is in theory, and then once the plank's on I can fix this onto the plank. That bit could drop down the back, and then that could fit flat on the plank. And then I've got spare polythene from putting the polytunnel up, and I could use the repair tape to tape the polythene on and into the gutter. It might be cheaper just to buy a polytunnel gutter, but I've got the tree stakes and I've got the aluminium guttering, and I do have old planks, and so I'm hoping I can fiddle something about. That's the idea anyway. and I should get on with it before I miss all the rain to, I better not put that there. If it falls on the polytunnel I'll be stuck. I'm going to lie that down here, and then I'll get both of them together, and then as soon as I've got decent enough weather, I think I'll put the stakes in first and work out the height and a bit of a fall. I think it's just one of those jobs where I have to just start and then carry on and work out the problems as I come to them. I can't think of another way really, with never having a polytunnel before. But if I can get some water off here into my barrels, that'd be good. It's already been rainy though, so I'm missing it by not doing it now. I'm missing out, but I feel as if it's going to rain again, so I'm getting ready to go in the house now. I thought they'd be good enough. I know I could have had 4x4 posts or something, but I thought that would have been overkill. So 3 stakes it is. And I think I'll try and get my thinking cap on, and I think it's just start and do it, so that might be coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so, if I can just get some time to be out here, I suppose. Anyway, it's getting a bit cold. I'm all wrapped up. I'm going to go in and I'm going to pod all my runner beans. In the meantime, I'm just going to have to get on and clear the rest of the tomatoes because they just can't stay in any longer. It's so cold here now. They're not going to be improved any by waiting any longer, and I might lose what I've got here. I know, I am running out of places. I'm actually drying them now. So, yeah, hopefully I'll not need to buy any tomatoes until they're growing again. That's the general idea. Whether it works or not, I don't know. We live in hope. I mean, who can complain at that? This is the middle of October and I'm still taking them. I think it's been a good year. It's going to look different though in here. I'll put them on the chair. I've got 2 jumpers in here. That shows you what the temperature's like at the minute. In all my years, I've never had a harvest like it, that's for sure. And all this is going to go on the compost. Before I just cut them off, I thought I'd just show you how far the Roma tomatoes got. That one's, it has got a bit ripe. But I'm going to just leave them on here and I'll see if they will ripen up in the house. Because if they did, they'd be good. They have grown. They just haven't grown enough. My goodness, that's made a huge difference. It looks empty now. Planted some miniature narcissus in this area and along the front of the logs here, and I did get these plants to put in, and the idea was to cover this whole area in white things, so the saxifrage, cyclamen, snowdrops. And then the other day I realised that actually this was the area that I thought would have my rhubarb. I really did miss having my rhubarb this year, and I was determined to have it back in. This is the only corner I can think that I can have such a big plant, and I've found somewhere that has 3 different crowns, like as a bundle that I can order now for delivery in November. And I just feel in a quandary because I've sort of got both ideas in mind now, carpeted in white, and then come this spring will I miss having my rhubarb. I've got a feeling I'd miss having the rhubarb, so I'm having a little rethink for here. Meanwhile, I've been hunting for fungus and found common bonnet. I think this is called common bonnet, and it is appearing on my phonology wheel. There's another little one along there. I don't know what that one is. Oh, and I've just found, I think that's candle snuff hiding in there. There's candle snuff fungus. Oh, and I spy a molehill. He's tracked through there, look. Started clearing round the pond, and I've planted some miniature tulips and miniature narcissus there, and I think I do remember planting some crocuses too. The king cups shouldn't be in flower now though. That's a spring flower. And these water forget-me-nots, they have never stopped flowering all summer since they went into the pond. I planted these Louisia right at the beginning of me tidying up the garden, and they are still flowering. They have been such a good value. These ones too, they're absolutely covered in flower buds again. Well, I was doing my last round of the veg beds, and look what I found. The purple broccoli starting to produce the broccoli. That's super good. Especially since I've pulled out the ones that were inside the polytunnel because the caterpillars got them. That one's starting. The others aren't quite showing yet, but it's all good stuff. And as you can probably see, I've harvested quite a lot of the sweet corn. It's still looking okay, even though we're getting to the end of October. And on that note, I'm just going to say bye for now. Think about possibilities in your own garden or whatever you're doing. Maybe there's possibilities there you didn't even realise existed. I'm finding them all the time. Thanks for watching everyone, and bye from Marion's World. Oh. Thanks for watching everyone, and bye from Marion's Garden. Until next time. Happy gardening.